Hi, I'm Jess, and I was born in a tiny village in Strathire in Scotland, Perthshire, and I was one of 12 children. My mum had 12 children, 6 girls and 6 boys. My daddy was a forestry worker. We had a big house, obviously, and we had hens, and we had my dad grew all his own vegetables, and there was lots of work to do, so it was the girls did the work indoors, and the boys did the work outdoors. And then unfortunately Daddy died when I was 14, and things really did change then, because Mummy had to work at the local hotel to get some money, because there wasn't a lot of money around. And my older brother, he gave up his job to take over the forestry job so Mum could stay in the house, because otherwise we were going to get kicked out. All of a sudden things were a bit harder at home, because I had a baby brother of 2 and 2 little sisters and another younger brother. And they were sort of really a bit my responsibility when Mummy was working. Because the older boys that were living still at home, obviously they had jobs to do, and there were a couple of them were working. So meals to cook and stuff like that, yeah. And then Mum, she met, while she was working, and met this little couple who were after having somebody come along to do, they were after somebody to come and be a babysitter, a nanny, like, for their little boys down in England. And so Mama asked me, and I said yes. I was 16 then, or just nearly 16. And off I went to Purley in Surrey, thinking it was a bit of an adventure. Never been away from the village before, really. And but yeah, it was very different. But I loved the children, the little boys. They were lovely, but I wasn't happy in England. I didn't find friends, really. So I decided after a year, I gave it a year, and then my older sister in Edinburgh got me another job, so I came home. And I got a job in the children's home, which was for children who were had problems, parents from that. And they were lovely, and I loved that job. I was training up there as a children's nurse, and I just loved it, and I made friends, and I was very, very happy. And then I met my to-be husband. 50 years we'd been together, and his name was Colin, but I always called him Col, because he used to say, well, you only call me Colin when you're angry with me, so he always knew. Colin was in the British Army, in the Royal Signals, and so we travelled a lot. First place was Germany, and I followed him out there. First time flying on my own. Must have been another adventure for me. And then I had my 2 boys born in Germany, 18 months between them. And then we left from there, and then we went to Cyprus. And there we had a little girl, and there along she came. And she's been my blessing ever since. And then, of course, I have 2 wonderful grandchildren who have brought us so much joy. Well, before I met Jesus, I've always thought about Jesus, even when I was a very little girl, because we used to go to Sunday school, and we did learn about Jesus. Not as much as the little ones learn here, that's for sure. But we did learn, and we learned Bible stories, and But it was just something that we did. It was just something the family did, and Christmas time was an exciting time, of course, where we celebrated for Jesus, as well as Christmas stockings and whatever we did have. Not a lot, but again, it was thrilling. The Easter time, we used to go to church at Easter time as well. But that was really as far as it went. When living here in Andover, I had been living here in Andover a wee while, we read in the Colin and I, in the local paper, Andover paper, that Billy Graham, who was a very, very well-known Christian leader, was coming to Scotland, and it was being videoed or whatever they do, recorded and coming here to Andover Baptist Church. And that very first night, Carl stepped forward and became believed in Jesus. And he said he had this overwhelming feeling, but I didn't feel anything. So we came away, it was lovely, we met lots of people. But then I said, well, I've got to go back, because whatever you've got, I want to find. And eventually I did. And on the last night, I found myself at the front of the church, and I don't really quite know to this day how I got there. But I just found myself there, opening my heart to Jesus, giving my life to Jesus, and it's just gone from there. That was in 1991. Yeah, how has it changed my life? In so many ways it's changed my life. The Lord is just always there, and He's a comforter, and He's somebody I feel, I never naturally or hear very often, but I do feel His presence, and you feel you belong to a family. It just changes your life, it changes your outlook to life, and you become more understanding of people as well, in situations. When Colin was diagnosed with cancer, at Christmas time, Christmas Eve actually, he was diagnosed, and it was a very short but painful experience for him. But he never lost his faith, and in fact, if anything, his faith grew, and it was always a case of trusting in the Lord, really. And he went through the treatment, and then eventually the treatment was no good, and we were told that there was nothing else they could do, so they'd make him comfortable by sending him to the hospice. I feel God's hand on the situation, because I didn't want him travelling there on his own. So I, through my daughter again, her friend who's had twins, but they were prem twins, so they had to stay in hospital, but she was going every day to feed the babies. And her husband was taking her there every morning, dropping her off, and then going to work. So he said, if you can be ready at 7 o'clock, I'll pick you up, and you can go to the hospital and then come back, travel back, because the transport was 9 o'clock. So that's what we did. So that, to me, God's hand was there. And we travelled together back to the hospice, and he got settled in there. And then I said I was going to pop up the road, because literally the hospice is at the end of my road where I live. And I said, Colin, I'm just going to pop up the road now, have a shower and get freshened up. And he says, yeah, because I'm feeling tired now, I'm going to go sleep. But anyway, in between time, the minister from here came, Clive and Rob, both came down to the hospice and were with Carl and prayed with him and talked with him. And when I went back in the afternoon, he told me then, and he said, Jesus is waiting for me, he's calling, and it won't be long, Jess. And I just said, well, not yet, not yet. And it was not yet, it was 7 days later, the following Tuesday, that Colin passed. But he never left. He never lost that faith. And as I say, his faith grew, and I do believe my own faith grew. So God is good. When we came to Jesus here in 1991, we were welcomed to join a beginners home group with Alison and David Pressey. And they were just a lovely couple, a lovely family couple, because they had 3 young children then. And they invited us into their home. And there was others who had come forward as well. So there was a group of about 8 or 9 of us all together. And it was really, really a lovely time. And I felt that we did grow a lot through it. And they took us through the Bible, and in very baby steps, really. Yeah, it was lovely. And they just were always a lovely, friendly couple that you could turn to no matter when or where you bumped into them. You always knew you could have a chat and sort of, if you had a problem, have a little talk or whatever. Even when Cole passed, David helped me with my paperwork, because I wasn't very clever on banking work and stuff like that, but he went through it and helped me with some things, and that was just all little things, but they all meant a lot to me. Yeah, a long time coming. But baptism, I just didn't think it was necessary for me, because I had been baptized as a child, as a baby, and I just thought that it was for other people, but it wasn't really for me. But I'd come along and I'd watch it, other people being baptized and listening to their stories and thinking, yeah, that's lovely. It really is lovely, but I don't really think I need it. No, don't think I need it. But then as time went by, I started in my quiet times and in prayer and other things just coming into my mind, started to make me think, well, maybe I need to take another step. And then the recent series that we've been having in our church about disqualified, I was thinking even to myself that you've disqualified yourself by not getting baptized, because that's another step we need to take. So it was becoming more and more important to me. Watching The Chosen, which I've really enjoyed, and that again is telling me about baptism. And so I decided that this is why I must speak up and actually voice it out loud, which I did. And here I am. Yeah, my name is Jess, and my faith in Jesus has changed everything in my life, really. Yeah, going forward.